Have you ever stubbed your toe? The kind of stubbing that has you dancing around the room on one foot, wishing you could invent new expletives, orders of magnitude more profane than any you currently know. Have you ever hit your thumb with a hammer, sliced a finger open with a knife, or worse? If you have broken a bone or suffered a torn muscle, slip disc or the like, then you have experienced more prolonged agony. I've even heard that some women suggest popping a baby out can be a mite uncomfortable. Seriously, childbirth is called labour for a reason. I do not need to drone on about the pain felt first-hand by women who have suffered it, or men who have experienced it second-hand whilst having their carpal bones rearranged by their loving partner who has seemingly developed superpowers and is directing all of them to the task of crushing your hand when you are convinced she should be using them to follow the nurse's instructions to push. It has often been said, by me if no one else, that the world's population problems would be solved overnight if men gave birth, by the simple fact that none of them would choose to go through the process twice. But nature has a way of solving little problems like intermittent excruciating pain. We forget about it. You can probably come up with a rough estimate of how many times you've suffered excruciating pain in your life, but can you list them off with dates, times and places? I certainly can't, because in the grand scheme of my failing memory they have paled into insignificance, even though at the time I was completely occupied by them. And this is why a woman, even having suffered a protracted and excruciating labour of many hours, will choose to repeat the experience, often several times. It's perfectly natural to do so. Let me try to put some numbers to this. Say that a woman during a protracted labour overall suffers 20 minutes of what she feels is unbearable pain. I'm ignoring anything but the unbearable here. She has the luxury of control and decides to have 2 more children. She has these 2 years apart, which indicates how quickly her mind recovers from the very real trauma of childbirth. Thus, I have cleverly engineered for her to suffer a nice round hour of excruciating pain during childbirth in her lifetime. And let's say she lives to be 114 years old. How significant a part of her experiential memory does that 1 hour of pain play in her 1 million hours of life? Now imagine that this woman could live for 1,000 years, or 10,000, or perhaps even 100,000 years. In 1 billion hours of life, how significant a part of her experiential memory would that 1 hour of pain then play? Do I need to go on to 1,000,000 years or 1,000,000,000 years? 1,000,000,000 years would be 1,000 trillion hours of life. And here we very literally get to the crux of the issue. Because religion, Christianity, does not talk about billions or trillions. It talks about forever, a number without end, impossible for us to comprehend, an infinite time with an infinite number of hours. The Christian faith demands that we accept that Jesus, all man and all God, chose to suffer and die on a cross 2,000 years before I was born to absolve me of the blame I would inherit for something he allowed to happen 4,000 years previously. Ignoring the fact that, if you believe the story, he chose to do this, and that, being all God as well as all man, he was in complete control over how much pain he had to endure, how significant a part of his experiential memory as an eternal being do you think those few hours of suffering really were?